The Katsina Division of the Federal High Court today adjourned the trial of the former Katsina State Governor Ibrahim Shema to February the 25th, 2019. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission is arraigning the former governor on 26 counts of money laundering involving the sum of 5.7 billion naira. At the resumed hearing today, the EFCC counsel tendered 22 payment vouchers before the court, which a prosecution witness explained had been raised for a program but never implemented. However, the defense counsel objected to the admissibility of some of the documents on the grounds that they were either unsigned, inconclusive, or not dated. In her ruling, the judge, Hadiza Rabiu Shagari, rejected 8 out of the 22 vouchers that were unsigned, but admitted 14 payment vouchers as exhibits. Mr. Shema is being tried for allegedly diverting 5.7 billion naira from the Katsina Subsidy Reinvestment and Empowerment Program funds during his 8 years as governor. A former senior aide to the former President Goodluck Jonathan, Mr. Donyo Okukwe, has been arraigned by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission for allegedly diverting the sum of 702 million naira. Mr. Okukwe was brought before Justice Ijoma Ojukwu of the Federal High Court, Abuja, on 59 counts, along with 2 companies, Value Trust Investment Limited and Abraham's Telecoms Limited, allegedly involved in the fraud. Mr. Okukwe pleaded not guilty to the charges, and upon his plea, the prosecuting counsel requested a date for commencement of the trial. The presiding judge, Justice Ojukwu, adjourned to February the 27th, 28th, and March the 6th, 2019 for trial. And in other legal matters, an Abuja High Court sitting in Maitama has accelerated hearing of a suit seeking to compel the EFCC to arrest and prosecute the First Lady of Kano State, Dr. Hafsatu Abdullahi Ganduje, over her alleged role in the $5 million bribe scandal involving her husband, Mr. Abdullahi Ganduje. Ruling on an ex parte application filed by a non-governmental organization, Justice Yusuf Halilu ordered the EFCC, the Kano State Government and the All Progressives Congress, who are listed as defendants, to show cause why all assets owned by or traceable to Governor Ganduje and his wife should not be temporarily forfeited pending the hearing and determination of the suit. The court also ordered the APC, through its National Working Committee, to show cause why it should not be directed to immediately remove and substitute Governor Ganduje's name as its candidate for the March 2nd governorship election in Kano State. All right, now let's cross over to Abuja. Here's Linda Akigbe. Hey, Linda.
Hi, Joma. Welcome to Abuja. Now, ahead of the 2019 general elections, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has published the regulations and guidelines for the conduct of the polls. The 32-page document encompasses the general elections, by-elections, rerun elections, and supplementary elections. It shall remain in force until replaced by new regulations for amendment supported by a decision extract of the Commission or an official gazette. Among the key highlights covered by the document are the dates of the general elections, those eligible to vote, as well as polling units, polling officials, and polling agents. The guidelines stipulate that voting shall be in accordance with the continuous accreditation and voting system procedures as specified by the Commission. This confirms that INEC is sticking to its guns in its adoption of a simultaneous accreditation and voting, despite objections from the People's Democratic Party and other opposition parties. The objections were raised after INEC released the voting procedures last week, and this process is enshrined in the regulations and guidelines. The document also seeks to address anticipated areas of controversy by declaring that where no candidate meets the requirements of majority of votes cast and the electoral two-thirds, a runoff election shall be organized by the Commission within 21 days in line with constitutional provisions. The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, has promised to complete federal government projects in Ekiti State if elected president. Alhaji Abubakar made the promise while addressing party members at a rally in Ekiti State. The PDP presidential candidate also addressed a rally in Akure, Ondo State, where voters were told to protect their votes in the coming elections. Our correspondent Larry Lasisi reports.
After spending most of last week holding rallies in some north-central states, the presidential campaign train of the People's Democratic Party has moved to the southwest. Ekiti is the first to receive the Presidential Campaign Council, and former Governor Pt.2 welcomes them to Ekiti State.
The Lord will give our candidate and the party health. There's nothing to say. They have come, they have seen, they are assured that victory is assured.
The chairman of the party assures those gathered that the party's candidate is set to address the challenges facing the country.
He has been tested in the public service, he has been tested in the private sector, and so is the man that can come and turn the economy around and provide security to the people.
The candidate himself speaks in more specific terms.
SPDP, this state has always been a PDP state. Therefore, we must take back our state, we must take back our country, we must take back our people. The important thing, we will restore standard and quality of education so that we can provide you jobs.
From there, the team moves to Akure, Ondo State, where the candidate enjoins the people to protect their votes.
Don't allow them to do what they did in Oshun. Don't allow them to do what they did in Bauchi, in Katsina, even in Ondo, as they stole votes. Didn't they steal?
The party's campaign team is set to continue to Osun State on Tuesday. Lanre Lasese, Channels Television News.
President Muhammadu Buhari is appealing to religious and traditional leaders to use their influence in combating insurgency, child trafficking and cybercrime. The president was addressing issues on girl-child education at a regional conference on keeping girls in schools in Africa. He reminded religious and traditional leaders of their role to advise and assist the government in tackling the challenges. Our correspondent Gloria Omezuki reports.
For many young girls affected by the Boko Haram crisis, the reality of education seems far-fetched. For others, resources and practice is a hindrance.
Only an educated woman.
This regional conference for African traditional and religious leaders on keeping girls in school in Africa is trying to change the narrative. The Sultan of Sokoto joins voices with other stakeholders to underscore the dangers of neglecting women education.
We have been told by experts severally and consistently that the development of Africa, indeed every human society, starts with human capital development. The conference is conceived and designed precisely to address this human capital deficit.
We have been spending a lot of time blaming the victims. So while we talk about cultural practices, while we talk about changing attitudes, we also talk about the need for these schools to be made available for funding for education from the public sector and from the private sector.
Our hope is that over the next 5 to 10 years, we'll probably see all girls in Africa completing secondary school.
President Muhammadu Buhari made no bones about throwing his weight behind the initiative.
By the age of 14, our girls should be literate, numerate, with computer skills and preliminary training to face life in the 21st century. May I appeal to your majesties to bring your influence to bear and help your governments in combating the modern-day challenges we face, such as insurgency, human and drug trafficking, cyber crimes, and disruptive social media.
All children went to public school.
The Keeping Girls in School initiative, he says, could improve a girl's life and lift millions out of poverty.
The advocacy is very strong, and clearly the government is willing to take the extra step. But what is unclear is how far this will go to ensure that girls indeed complete the full cycle of their education within the next 5 years. Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.